Part 16. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 153. Yes. Yang Hao admitted without hesitation. With his background, he is in the same realm or even one or two realms higher. Now he can't even generate the will to fight. This was the case when he faced Hong Yuan's provocation when he returned. He couldn't even generate a trace of extra interest. It was too weak. So weak that he was afraid that even a random finger could completely suppress it. Such an opponent was completely meaningless. But facing the legacy of the great emperor in front of him, the souls are different. He has been sharpening his combat experience by fighting with the soul of the eternal emperor and another great emperor every day, and he is very clear that the power of an emperor is not without reason. Therefore, when he saw the remnant soul of the eternal emperor in front of him, in fact, there was some movement in his heart, and the will to fight was burning. But it was just as he said. Even the great emperor, if he did not have the strength to surpass his two realms, he still didn't have much interest. In the end, Yang Hao couldn't bear it anymore. Live inquiry. In that case, let your wish be fulfilled. But you need to be careful. Defeating me will be good for your mood, but if you lose, it will affect your beliefs. Tianjiao's belief in invincibility is crucial. Unless you are following the path of repeated defeats, it is best to think twice before taking action. The Eternal Emperor was not angry, but reminded Yang Hao. Good, Yang Hao said immediately. He also wanted to see the true strength of the Emperor. I will show no mercy. The words of the Eternal Emperor fell to the ground. 9 extremely terrifying magical powers fell. This time, it is different from the first time Yang Hao fought against the soul of the great emperor. Each one is a supreme magical power. When a practitioner fights, he can start with the instant release of magical powers, can be said to be a standard method. Once done, it means life and death. However, the Yongsheng emperor suddenly took action, and Yang Hao was still prepared for it. Break. Yang Hao was immediately shaken. One after another, the supreme magical powers collided with the 9 supreme magical powers of the Eternal Emperor and exploded. Almost instantly, Yang Hao sensed the threat. As worthy of being an emperor, not only are all my magical powers supreme, but because of the coercion of my realm, I am at a disadvantage for the first time in terms of magical powers. There was an extremely terrifying shock in this piece of heaven and earth. The 9 magical powers on both sides were overturned crazily. All along, as long as Yang Hao used his magical powers, he was invincible in terms of power. Among the enemies he encountered, there was no such thing. One person can transform all of his magical powers into supreme ones. But now the immortal emperor's magical powers are not only supreme, but even due to the pressure of his realm, his supreme magical powers have almost wiped out Yang Hao's. Unfortunately, I am not just Judeo. Yang Hao just wanted to test the strength of the great emperor's magical power. After sensing the terrifying magical power of the other party, he didn't hold back at all. More than 50 supreme magical powers poured down like pear blossoms in a heavy rain. You little guy, you really don't know how to respect the old and care for the young. At this time, the helpless voice of the Yongsheng emperor came. The 9 supreme magical powers that he originally had the upper hand were wiped out by Yang Hao's sea of magical powers in almost an instant, and he also attacked the Yongsheng emperor who was standing there. Go. Although the Yongsheng emperor is complaining, he has long known that Yang Hao possesses magical powers far beyond ordinary people, so he will not be unprepared. Be careful. Although my realm is only the realm of eternal giants, my killing array has long since transformed into a big world. Welcome to the world of immortality. The words fell to the ground. The Yongsheng emperor disappeared instantly. Disappearing with him was Yang Hao's supreme magical power, which was killing like a sea. This is. Yang Hao's face changed slightly. Just for a moment, he felt the changes in the world. He seemed to be enveloped in a big world in an instant. In all directions of him, one after another terrifying giant monsters were born. Every monster, the strength exceeds that of giants. It is densely packed and surging like a sea tide. If an ordinary powerful man sees this scene, he will be frightened to death. In addition, the big world he is in is filled with endless terrifying aura. It is the intertwining of countless killing formations and the terrifying power of various laws. Master, be careful. Do you need to fit together? This is the big world that the supreme killing array evolved into after the great emperor attained enlightenment. Once it is shrouded in the big world, there are endless laws and various creatures created by the great emperor in this big world. They can be killed and killed at the mercy of the great emperor. However, the strength of this great emperor's remnant is only at the level of an eternal giant. He should not be able to sustain the huge consumption after expanding the big world. In fact, he can't even expand this big world. According to my judgment, as long as you persist for more than half an hour, this big world will collapse and he will lose. Yunyin's analysis and reminder came to my ears. The big world transformed into the supreme killing formation. When Yang Hao heard this, he had no intention of merging. He was confident in his heart. Not only did he not panic, he even observed the immortal world of the immortal emperor with great interest. The system of the Zhiwei star's spiritual power formation, in the later stages, would be a checkmate. The formation evolved into a small world, and finally evolved into a big world. Using the power of the world to suppress the enemy was invincible and extremely terrifying. Now that he has become a powerful man, he can very clearly sense how many terrifying laws of power are contained in the eternal world. And even, it is very possible that a complete Tao exists. In addition, the giant monsters that are coming towards him are also filled with the atmosphere of ancient times. These giant monsters are extremely extraordinary. On each head, there are very special laws that circulate. Once bitten, even the immortal body and the divine body will be corroded. These giants are already the weakest creatures in this emperor's world of immortality. Of course, this is also the limit that this emperor's remnant soul can summon. Although they are nearly infinite, they are not the biggest danger. What threatens you is the entire world. Even if the emperor enters the eternal world, he cannot last 10 minutes. Keep it up, little one. At this moment, the faint voice of the Yongsheng emperor also sounded. Although he was very optimistic about Yang Hao, since he dared to challenge the emperor also had his own dignity that needed to be maintained. He. Yang Hao's faint laughter suddenly sounded. Persist in. I don't understand what persistence is. Usually it's others who hold on despite my attacks. As soon as his words fell to the ground, waves rose up. With him as the core, terrifying sword intent overflowed from all directions. The great desolate killing formation appeared in an instant. A series of extremely powerful spiritual treasures surged out in an instant. In the great desolate killing formation, based on the four most lethal swords, many spiritual treasures began to integrate into it. The sword's intention was to cleanse. Those extremely powerful giants were wiped out one after another. Even though they killed more and more, those giants surged like a sea tide. Come out. But Yang Hao's ancient killing formation is so terrifying. It's like a lawnmower, frantically harvesting these giants that appear in this world. The method of reincarnation. At the same time, Yang Hao's eyes shone with an extremely bright dark blue luster, and his eyes instantly turned into double pupils. The self-created reincarnation method was performed. Indeed, as the Eternal Emperor said, the crisis he faced, these terrifying giants are not the only ones like the abyss and the sea. The entire eternal world sometimes turns into night, sometimes turns into aurora, and the heaven and earth seem to be changing all the time. As these scenery changes, Yang Hao, who is shrouded in the world, feeling that his lifespan is draining, his Taoist heart is actually collapsing. Why does the Yongsheng Emperor, a remnant giant with the strength of the eternal soul, expand the world of immortality and say that even the emperor can only hold on for 10 minutes. It's simple. Remove it. These giants, these silent killers of various laws and rules from the eternal world, are the real most deadly poisonous snakes. Fortunately, as Yang Hao uses the reincarnation method, the terrifying breath of time turns everything around. The longevity energy and various auras he had absorbed are returning back. The Taoist heart is gradually becoming stable. The law of reincarnation, broken. But Yang Hao was obviously not satisfied with this. His eyes flickered, and the huge breath of time continued to wash away, forming a terrifying spiral vortex in the void of the eternal world. Huh? Very good use of time. There are also space laws contained within it. It seems that you are about to break through to great power, not bad. The voice of the eternal emperor sounded again, but there was praise and a hint of surprise in his tone. He could feel that his eternal world began to collapse on a small scale as Yang Hao purged the terrible reincarnation method. Yang Hao did not persist at all. Meaning, from the very beginning, Yang Hao planned to break the cage of heaven and earth, the world's confinement. The eternal emperor was a little helpless. If it was his true form, or his strength reached the holy level, and was attacked like this by Yang Hao, a single thought could mobilize the world in an instant. It is a pity that the strength of this relic is limited, but it cannot do it at all. In the eternal world, with the spiral vortex appearing at this moment, Yang Hao's ancient killing formation, carrying the sharp and endless sword intent, almost in an instant, penetrate the whole world. Stop it, I have failed. When the Yongsheng Emperor saw this scene, he knew that with the power of Yang Hao's terrifying killing array that could almost threaten the emperor's realm, there was almost no suspense in penetrating the world of Yongsheng. He immediately waved his hand to take pictures and completely remove the entire world. As he said, he lost. Even though he already looked up to Yang Hao very highly, he was still defeated in a way that he didn't expect. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 154. The battle was almost to its extreme from start to finish. But the dangers involved were enough to make even the emperor fall. Although the eternal emperor expected that he might be defeated, he never thought that he would be defeated in this way. Seeing Yang Hao gradually appear in front of his eyes, his heart was by no means as calm as on the surface. Accepted. Yang Hao was also looking at the Yongsheng Emperor at this moment, his eyes as bright as stars. This battle also touched him deeply. Although he did not use the magic weapon, nor did he merge with Yunyan, he still felt the strength of the strong. The great emperor is really too terrifying. Once enveloped by the opponent's big world, he will fall in an unthinkable way. Of course, that requires a real great emperor. At least the soul of the great emperor in front of him cannot do it. At this moment, a series of insights arose in his mind, and he kept recalling the interweaving and construction of the laws of the eternal world, giving him a clearer idea of how to perfect his killing formation. You are very strong, and even in the era of this emperor, you were an outstanding genius. However, your combat experience is still too little. Combat experience, you cannot truly understand the horror between life and death just by fighting with the soul of this emperor. Before you step into the saint level, I suggest you take the path of invincibility, suppress all the geniuses of your generation, and develop an invincible Taoist heart, which will be of great help to you in your future enlightenment. The voice of the eternal emperor came. Although he was defeated by Yang Hao, it was just a remnant after all. It did not produce too many negative emotions. Instead, he suggested to Yang Hao Invincible Road. Yang Hao was a little puzzled when he heard this. He also knew about his shortcomings, but neither in the Holy Land of Eternal Life nor Zhongwu ever mentioned this concept. The Invincible Road is a practice method from ancient times. By constantly defeating powerful enemies, you can enhance your own momentum, form an invincible spirit, and finally condense your invincible Taoist heart. But once the battle is defeated, all the efforts will be in vain. It seems that in your era, few people have taken the path of invincibility. Hearing Yang Hao's confusion, the Eternal Emperor said casually, Master, according to my understanding, the Dark Ages were full of bloody killings. Almost all the geniuses who took the path of invincibility were slaughtered. Therefore, in this era, few people have taken the path of invincibility. For many geniuses, the road of invincibility represents ominousness. Once they develop an invincible mind, they will be in danger of falling. Naturally, Yang Hao didn't know the reason, but fortunately, Yunyin, as a saint, knew some information about the invincible road. After hearing Yunyin's explanation, Yang Hao showed a look of surprise. The ominous invincible road. Interesting. He recorded this matter in his heart, and was very interested in the invincible road mentioned by the Eternal Emperor. Before becoming a saint, he would investigate carefully and then decide whether to embark on the invincible road. Thank you very much for your advice. Of course, Yang Hao immediately responded. Okay, I've taken the road to hell and the battle is over, let's leave now. If my body had not died, we should see each other again in the future. The voice of the Eternal Emperor came again. Yang Hao nodded, and the next moment he was teleported out of the tomb of the Emperor by the soul of the Emperor in front of him. After leaving the great Emperor's tomb, Yang Hao returned to his Shaoguang immortal peak again under the watchful eyes of a group of powerful men from the Eternal Holy Land, and began to digest this understanding. The experience of fighting against a great emperor is worth remembering and learning every time. Yang Hao also began to focus on understanding the power of space that the system continuously comprehended, and his attainments in the laws of space were advancing by leaps and bounds. Of course, the law of space is the supreme law. Sui, the rapid progress mentioned here is only relative to the realm of great power. The realm of great power, the third heaven. On this day, Yang Hao opened his eyes. 3 months had passed in a blink of an eye. During these 3 months, he maintained an extremely terrifying rhythm of being promoted to the first level of heaven in 1 month, and today he finally broke through the second level of the powerful realm. Chongtian, enter the realm of the third heaven. If it were another great power, he would like to step into the third heaven. Not to mention 3 months, even 300 years would be an extremely fast advance. After reaching the realm of the third heaven, he can already do it with ease. Draw the power of space from the void and begin to inject it into your own prehistoric killing array. The power of space is also extremely complex and cannot be directly injected into the prehistoric killing array. It requires precise refining. It is another time-consuming water-grinding effort. Fortunately, the system is so powerful that the automatic refining can even refine the power of space and inject it into the prehistoric killing array. Yang Hao was very satisfied. With the help of the system, his space power poured into the prehistoric killing array, and a hollow willow tree appeared in the prehistoric killing array. Although this hollow willow tree was so illusory that even the virtual world shadows don't count, but Yang Hao knows that as he continues to inject the refined power of space, sooner or later this hollow willow tree will turn into a large bluestone that has slowly solidified in the prehistoric killing array. Generally. Sun. On this day, Lu Yan appeared in front of Yang Hao. How's the check going? Yang Hao raised his eyelids and gradually came back to his senses from practicing. Xiao Qing in the year when the Great Age came, is said to have entered a secret place called Beifang Fire God Realm in the western desert with Lan Sheng, and has never returned yet. But it was during this period that Xiao Qing stirred up the Dao galaxy and ranked among the Tiangang stars. According to my research, the Beifang Fire God Realm was originally just a secret place left by a saint, but there are rumors that there is actually the tomb of a fallen emperor buried deep in the Beifang Fire God Realm. The Sky-Fire Emperor. After hearing Lu Yan's report, Yang Hao nodded slightly and said slowly, then continue to pay attention. If she leaves the Beifang Fire God Realm, let me know. There is no doubt that Xiao Qing who has the fate of the protagonist, has obviously received a great opportunity again. Since Lu Yan mentioned rumors, it cannot be said that there is really the tomb of the great emperor in it. In fact, it may not only be the tomb of the great Sky-Fire Emperor, he is not surprised that there are other tombs of great emperors, or that a group of extremely powerful emperor soldiers are dug up. As long as he is the protagonist, he will definitely turn decay into magic and do things that ordinary people can't. But he is far from the urgency he had back then. He has achieved great success and is ranked as the main star of the avenue. As long as he does not lose control and falls into the rhythm of the protagonist, he can naturally suppress it. Where is Lin Feng? He asked again. Lin Feng is also very legendary. After the arrival of the Great Age, he rose up against the will of heaven and became an emperor. Last year, the Holy Lord who created the Holy Land had an epiphany and made a breakthrough to become a sage. Lin Feng also successfully passed the Holy Lord test of the Holy Land of creation. Not surprisingly, after becoming a saint, he will inherit the position of Holy Lord of the Holy Land of creation. Now Lin Feng has also been sent to a place of opportunity for sainthood by the Holy Land of creation, and no trace can be found. Lu Yan said again, with a helpless tone. These peerless geniuses are very terrifying in terms of strength and opportunities. They are either on the way to breakthrough or on the way to get opportunities. In the past, she would never have been exposed to such powerful geniuses in her life. And these the peerless geniuses who amazed her were all defeated by her master. This made Lu Yan feel a little proud in her heart. Kindness. Yang Hao was a little helpless when he heard Lu Yan's report. Xiao Qing'er entered the secret place, and Lin Feng, who was carrying a big secret, also entered the place of opportunity for sainthood. Even if he wanted to find them and suppress them, it would not be easy. However, don't worry. I don't know about Xiao Qing'er, but Lin Feng will definitely show up these days. At this moment, a gust of breeze blew towards my face. As if knowing Yang Hao's thoughts, Zhang Wu's figure appeared. I have seen the Holy Lord. Lu Yan immediately said respectfully to Zhang Wu. Well, no need to be polite, Zhang Wu said casually. She looked at Yang Hao and smiled. She could clearly sense that Yang Hao's cultivation had improved again. Has your aunt received any news? When Yang Hao saw Zhang Wu arriving, he immediately said with a smile. Kindness. Today comes, mainly because of three things. The first thing is related to Lin Feng. 1 year later, Wandao Pavilion opened. This is a secret place that has been opened up by the powerful masters from all major holy places over the years who have worked together to comprehend and draw on the power of the great avenues and galaxies. It is very mysterious and has great opportunities. Gathering the power of all major holy places, it can be opened once every 100 years. By then, as the preparatory holy master of the Holy Land of creation, Lin Feng will inevitably arrive. Hearing this, Yang Hao narrowed his eyes and said, Wandao Pavilion, that's interesting. Auntie, what are the benefits of this? About Wandao Pavilion, he has actually heard about it many times in bits and pieces, but he has been busy with many things recently, so he thought it was just an ordinary secret realm, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Unexpectedly, after hearing the meaning of Zhang Wu's words, this Wandao Pavilion is very mysterious, and it is actually related to the Dao Galaxy. In order to open this secret place, all the major holy places have joined forces, which made him suddenly curious. The benefits are great. The Wandao Pavilion draws the power of the Wandao Galaxy. According to the observations of many extremely powerful people, it is very likely that it contains a large number of special laws that can be comprehended. Zhang Wu's words refreshed Yang Hao's spirits. Special rules. His path to hell is made entirely of the special laws of hell. The more he comprehends these days, the more mysterious he becomes. But he knows very well that special laws are different from the supreme laws and general laws. Most of them only exist in the underworld. A special place that is very difficult to find. Please download the novel without underlining. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 155. Yes. Special laws are very rare, but Wandeo Pavilion is the gateway to the galaxy. The Great Deo Galaxy is born from the Great Deo and contains endless laws. Naturally, there are special laws within it. It's just that Wandeo Pavilion is jointly opened by major holy places, so the number of places is naturally limited. There are a total of 5 places in my holy land of eternal life. Chief Holy Son, 1 extra spot will be counted. However, with your talent, you will naturally have a quota. Zhongwu's words made Yang Hao nod. If he is not qualified to go to the entire holy land of eternal life, then the rest of you will certainly not be qualified to go. Is there a place for my aunt? No, Wandeo Pavilion is too fragile, and no one above the saint level can enter it. You shouldn't be able to bring it in, little girl. Yunyan is a soul, so it shouldn't be a problem. Hearing Zhongwu's words, Yang Hao nodded slightly. It is very normal for this kind of secret realm that should not exist to be fragile. It is very rare for the emperor to enter. The chief holy son has not even achieved great power, so what is the point of entering Wandeo Pavilion? Yang Hao asked casually again. Wandeo Pavilion gathers all the precious treasures of the gods, and you can find your own gains from them, whether they are as weak as the Qi and Blood realm or as strong as the Emperor realm. The quota for the Chief Holy Son is an additional quota and does not occupy the main quota. Yang Hao nodded slightly and said, no wonder the Holy Land is so anxious to hold the Chief Holy ceremony. It turns out that it is for the extra quota of Wandeo Pavilion. You don't need to think too much. You also know that the quota in Wandeo Pavilion is very precious. If you can get an extra quota, the Holy Land of Eternal Life will naturally not want to give it up because the chief saint is vacant or missing. I am no longer considered a holy son, so the quota was given to Hong Yuan. Yang Hao asked again. No, Hong Yuan has failed and is not qualified to serve as the chief saint. It should be Tianchu, right? Zhongwu didn't pay much attention to this and said casually. Wouldn't it be necessary to hold the chief holy ceremony again? Yang Hao was a little helpless. Because of the quota of Wandeo Pavilion, it is unprecedented to hold the chief holy ceremony twice in 1 year. Yes, there is nothing we can do about it. Zhongwu also found it interesting, but she changed the subject and said, don't mention these anymore. The second thing that happened this time was that the Holy Land deliberately opened up the secrets for you and took 9 void divine crystals. Say it. Zhongwu moved her hand slightly, and 9 transparent divine crystals washing with extremely rich colors appeared in front of Yang Hao's eyes. Void divine crystal. Yang Hao's eyes lit up. This is a good thing. Its value is almost equal to the time crystal. It can only be found in the secret space secrets released by killers. It is extremely rare. If such a space crystal is placed in the outside world, it will be the holy level also has to break the scalp competition. I never thought that there are 9 void divine crystals sealed in the Holy Land of Eternal Life. This is all the heritage of the Holy Land. If it weren't for the emergence of a peerless genius like you who dominates his contemporaries, the Holy Land would never have come up with such a precious thing. The last time the Holy Land took out a divine object like the void divine crystal, it was for the use of Emperor Tiandu. Zhongwu smiled and said, even she is a little greedy for this void divine crystal. It is of great help to the powerful realm. With it, you should be able to practice quickly in the realm of great power. Indeed. Yang Hao thought of the benefits brought by the time divine crystal. This void divine crystal can also bring great help to his understanding of the laws of space. You put it away, this third thing is also very important. Zhang Wu suddenly said to Yang Hao solemnly. What's up? You have now achieved great power and have escaped from the position of the sun. According to normal procedures, you should be canonized as an elder of the Holy Land. But however, you are the destined Holy Lord, and you will become the Holy Lord in the future. Therefore, the Presbyterian Church is also very embarrassed and temporarily allows you to occupy the position of Supreme Elder. Yang Hao nodded, but he didn't care. The elders of the major holy places are also divided into hierarchies. The lowest are the 4 levels, A, B, C and D. The higher ones are the Supreme Elder, the Supreme Elder, and the Supreme Elder. The Supreme Elder. Elders are almost all saint-level Laoshi. Normally, for the Chief Holy Son to become an elder, the best he can do is to become an elder. For him to become a Supreme Elder, it is already extremely broken. In addition to enjoying the Supreme Elder status, you also have additional privileges because of your status as the destined Holy Lord. It's your turn to have the right, you should be at the top of the queue in today's Holy Land of eternal life. If Hauer is interested, he can participate in the decision-making of the elders' affairs. Zhang Wu's words made Yang Hao laugh and said, I'm not interested at all. If I have this leisure, I might as well practice more. Yes. The Board of Elders is not interesting either. This time, in addition to becoming the Supreme Elder, you also need to confirm your title. Zhang Wu suddenly said seriously, the title of Holy Son no longer belongs to you. You must have a new title that can bring you luck and blessings. Yang Hao felt a little weird when he heard this. In this era, he has always been called the Holy Son of Yaoguang. The title of Yaoguang, just like the name, has been accepted by him. Now he wants to change this title. He was still a little unaccustomed to it. But Yang Hao knew that he must be crowned with the title. As Zhang Wu said, the title will bring luck and blessing. Why does the title of the Son and Saint of the Eternal Holy Land remain unchanged? It is because of the eternal emperors due to the stars in the sky and the earth. Emperor forged the heaven and earth, and forged the title of saint sons and saints of the 7 paths. All the saints and saints who can obtain the titles of 7 paths will be blessed by the great fortune. However, after breaking through to the realm of great power, the chi luck will fail. This is also the reason why the Holy Land of Eternal Life stipulates that after achieving great power, you will be separated from the title of Son and Saint. When you reach the realm of great power, your Taoist heart becomes self-contained. If your title can resonate with heaven and earth, you will naturally be attracted by luck. But you can't take titles randomly. If you cannot carry the meaning of your title, you will suffer backlash. Such as Wuzun, Shenzun, Warzun, etc. These titles all contain great fortune and cannot be taken by just anyone. Zhang Wu told Yang Hao the role of the title. The Elders' Council is discussing and wants to give you the title of immortality. Zhang Wu told Yang Hao the opinions of the Presbyterian Council. The Immortal Lord? The Immortal Emperor? The Immortal Emperor. Yang Hao heard this and murmured to himself. Hoping for longevity is great luck. However, it is one step lower than the Eternal Emperor. Yang Hao was a little dissatisfied when he heard this, and said with a frown. If other people heard Yang Hao's words, they would definitely think that Yang Hao was extremely arrogant. Even if he has the appearance of an emperor, he has not become an emperor after all. Even if he becomes an emperor, he may not necessarily become an emperor. Being able to compare with the Eternal Emperor is naturally extremely arrogant. Yang Hao doesn't think so. He himself has defeated the Eternal Emperor twice in succession. Although he is only the soul of the Emperor, he has shown his invincible ambition. So what if he is the Emperor? In the future, he will defeat them all one by one and become a unique Emperor. My aunt thinks so too, Zhang Wu said with a smile at this moment. She knew Yang Hao very well and did not support Yang Hao's title of immortality from the beginning. However, what are your thoughts? This. When Yang Hao heard this, he subconsciously felt a little confused at the moment. He did have many ideas in his mind. Reincarnation, Zhuyo, God, Deo. He has thought about these mysterious titles. However, these titles are already used by others. If used forcefully, there will be a battle in the future. Yang Hao is not afraid of a battle. He dislikes that someone has used him and his luck has been shared. So without careful consideration, he was suddenly asked by Zhang Wu, and he had no idea for a moment. Auntie should have some ideas. Suddenly, Yang Hao looked at Zhang Wu's smiling expression, but his expression changed. Zhang Wu had obviously come prepared. It was very likely that he had already thought of a title for him. You have the appearance of a great emperor and respect the emperor, how about that? Zhang Wu said casually. When Yang Hao heard this, he was subconsciously shocked. Emperor Zun. He turned to his mind and found that no one in this world seemed to have ever thought of using such a title. Or perhaps, the people who thought of using this title had already died due to the backlash of fate. Without it, the emperor would be respected within himself. The connotation is too strong, and the luck is also extremely profound. Not only that, Yang Hao also knows very well that this is not a good name. As far as he knows, when he was at Blue Star, the biggest villain in his memory was called Emperor Zun. In the future, how will I calculate my enlightenment and become an emperor? Emperor? Yang Hao looked strange and said to Zhang Wu. You brat, you are so talented but you have already thought about enlightenment. Zhang Wu was speechless, but she said slowly as if she had expected it, regard the emperor as your respecter, and after you attain enlightenment, you should become the emperor. In this world, no one can claim the title of emperor with the honor of heaven. Little one, do you dare to inherit this luck? Zhang Wu looked at Yang Hao seriously and said, if you don't have self-confidence, it's called immortality, and it's also great luck. He. Since it is my aunt who hopes for me, it is naturally my ambition. When Yang Hao heard this, he smiled freely. From today onwards, I, Yang Hao, will regard the emperor as my honor and call me emperor. If you become enlightened in the future, you will become a heaven and be called the emperor of heaven. He said with a loud smile, and it was so loud. The next moment, there was a thunderous thunder in the sky. Immediately, Yang Hao's voice, which was obviously not loud, actually resounded throughout the world and was known to all living beings. At the same time, his main star of the avenue flashing crazily, bursting out with terrible divine flames, like a bright sun, _Fe. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading dash. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 156. Respect the emperor? After attaining enlightenment, will I become a god? What a loud tone! Who is this Yang Hao? This name, is the Holy Son of Light, the only major star of my Zhiwei star. No wonder he has such great ambitions. The shaking of heaven and earth should be caused by the Holy Son of Light taking off the title of emperor. I don't know if heaven and earth approve it. If heaven and earth refuse to approve it, Holy Son of Yaoguang will surely suffer terrible backlash. But if the Holy Son of Yaoguang can bear this title, then his luck will reach a higher level. Yang Hao's voice resounded in all corners of Zhiwei Star at this moment. Every practitioner is talking about him. Some people did not know Yang Hao's identity and ridiculed him for being extremely arrogant and would surely suffer the consequences. Some people know Yang Hao's identity and understand his lofty ambitions, but they stand on the sidelines. But without exception, even if some people ridiculed Yang Hao, most people were shocked by Yang Hao's arrogance. Throughout the ages, some people have thought of using the emperor as their title. However, no one dares to truly take this title. Because when this title is established, a feeling of heaven and man will arise in the heart. Those who are not qualified will be devoured by the great terror on the spot. Yang Hao naturally had the qualifications, but when he spoke out, it was still shocking and shocked everyone. All eyes were looking up at Tianque. Those who cannot bear the fate of the honorary title will suffer backlash, and severe cases will be punished by heaven. If the color of the sky and the earth changes due to this, and a series of divine thunders rain down, it means that the former holy son of fluttering light will suffer a great setback in the future. However, everyone was disappointed. The world does begin to change. But not only did this not change the situation, it also attracted divine thunder. On the contrary, the sky was clear, and all the clouds and rain were dispersed a moment after Yang Hao's voice fell. At this time, every part of the Ziwei star was sunny. A series of clouds appeared, with colorful luster. This is recognized by heaven and earth. Not only was he recognized, but he also gave birth to auspicious signs. Does this mean he was optimistic about the Holy Son of Yaoguang? He can no longer be called the Holy Son of Light. In the future, there will be one less talented and stunning Holy Son in the world, and there will be one more unparalleled Emperor. As expected, after the advent of the Great Age, I, the main star of the Ziwei star, have been creating miracles all the time, and have made all the people who come after me despair. The sounds of shock came one after another. Yin Yang Holy Land, Qian Kun Holy Land, Creation Holy Land, 10,000 Dharma Holy Land, the extremely powerful forces are all in shock and cannot extricate themselves. Emperor Zun. Emperor of Heaven. The shorter the word, the more powerful it is. The two characters have absorbed the essence of heaven and earth and attracted the supreme purple energy. The two characters Emperor and Heaven are the ultimate title of honor, enjoying inexhaustible luck for all eternity. The more profound the powerful forces are, the more they understand the meaning of this. Yaoguang, no, shouldn't the Emperor be given the title of immortal? Why did he suddenly change? Ha ha ha, how can immortality be so overbearing as Emperor Tian? Since it has been recognized by God, it means that the Emperor is so lucky. Great, God bless me with eternal life, and the sixth Emperor will definitely be born in my holy land of eternal life. In this great world, among the 6 emperors of one sect, who in the world can compare with them? Compared with the shock and silence of other major forces in the Holy Land, the eternal Holy Land at this moment fell into a sea of joy. Every old monster was shocked by Yang Hao's grandeur. They knew that after being recognized by God, he would be blessed with the luck of the title. In addition, Yang Hao had the luck of Ziwei and Dao. In the future, he would also be blessed by the Holy Lord. I am afraid that the luck gathered in him would reach an unparalleled level. The situation. The truth will surely be revealed. The 6 emperors of one sect are in sight. Even now that the great world has arrived, no one has truly attained enlightenment yet, but these extremely powerful men in the Holy Land of eternal life are extremely certain. Even the emperor cannot become emperor, who can become emperor? At this moment, strange phenomena also appeared in the Yaoguang Immortal Peak. The vision of heaven and earth appeared again. When Yang Hao took the title of honor with great courage, the heaven and earth rolled around, streaks of purple. Purple air is coming from the east. Heaven and earth favor you. Surrounded by streaks of purple energy, Yang Hao also fell into a state of enlightenment after being stunned for a moment. The vision of purple energy coming from the east is the vision that all practitioners desire most among the visions of heaven and earth. Zhongwu's beautiful eyes flickered at this moment, looking at Yang Hao, who was enveloped by the falling purple energy. She was extremely proud. She had also hesitated whether to tell Yang Hao such a domineering emperor's title. If she told Yang Hao, she knew very well how to deal with it. Yang Hao's character will definitely accept such a title without hesitation. After struggling secretly, Zhongwu finally chose to tell Yang Hao. She has confidence in Yang Hao. He has the qualification to inherit such a title. A unique title. I never thought that Yang Hao would not only inherit this title, but also trigger visions in the world and gain favor. It seems that Hao has made great progress in his cultivation under the vision of purple energy coming from the east. It is unlikely that Hao will enter the third level of power and realize the laws of space soon. Zhang watched Yang Hao get the opportunity and, as always, was not far away to protect Yang Hao. All the powerful men from the Holy Land of Eternal Life who came to watch Yang Hao at this moment were expelled by Zhang without hesitation. Unfortunately, Zhang Wu didn't know that Yang Hao had already broken through to the third level of power. This time, he was favored by the vision of purple qi coming from the east, and what he got was beyond everyone's imagination. Because of this vision of purple qi coming from the east, he actually came alive. It lasted for nearly a year. Earned 40 million points due to enlightenment state, flash of inspiration. Earned 40 million points due to enlightenment state, flash of inspiration. Earned 30 million points for understanding the law of space. Earned 50 million points for realm breakthrough. Yang Hao practiced in a state of enlightenment all the time during this year. His spiritual platform was ethereal, and only the laws of space appeared in his mind. The originally obscure laws of space became particularly easy to understand under the vision of purple energy coming from the east. In addition, the system is constantly enlightening him, and he only needs to digest and understand a large number of space laws that are constantly being enlightened, and that is enough. During this period, the 9 void crystals originally brought by Zhang were also deliberately used by Zhang to absorb them all by Yang Hao in the state of enlightenment. Not only that, the endless flesh and blood essence of the immortal medicine in the Wei Tower also emits precious light and continues to pour into his divine body. Naturally, Yang Hao's realm quickly broke through. The 4th level of power. The mighty 5th heaven. The mighty 8th heaven. Until later, Zhang Wu, who had been protecting the Tao, vaguely felt that something was wrong. Why do I feel that the aura of space surrounding Hao is becoming more and more terrifying? Is he about to achieve a breakthrough in power? How long did it take for him to become a powerful person? But it's only been less than a year. Even a genius like Zhang Wu feels shocked in her heart at this moment. But no one knows how much luck Yang Hao carries now. The luck of Ziwei, Dao, and Zun Hao, each of them is comparable to some old monsters. The sum of luck. Not to mention, there is also a system to help him at all times. The powerful 9th heaven. The divine king 1st heaven. On this day, the sky breaks. Another vision of heaven and earth is born. Time flies like an arrow. Between heaven and earth, time turns into the arrows fell around Yang Hao, wrapping him layer by layer. Yang Hao's aura began to transform again. He had already expected that his stay in the Divine Lord realm might be shorter than that of the Great Power realm. Because he was born the Master of Time. As early as when he was in the King realm, he had already controlled the power of time that surpassed the Divine Lord realm. His understanding of time is no longer limited by the Divine Lord realm. Earned 70 million points due to breaking through realm. Earned 80 million points for breaking through realm. Earned 120 million points due to breaking through realm. The system's income records were flooding the screen like crazy at this moment. As Yang Hao's realm improves, the points obtained by the system increase horribly. In just 1 month, Yang Hao broke through from the 9th level of Mighty Heaven to the 9th level of Divine Lord. Zhang Wu, who was protecting Yang Hao, was completely numb. I should have thought long ago that this kid can't calculate with common sense. For other practitioners, the more they practice, the longer it takes. It's good for him, the more he practices, the shorter the time it takes. With his knowledge of entering the long river of time and understanding the laws of time, he might be able to directly transcend the realm of the Divine King and become a giant. If this matter spreads out, the world will be shocked and no one will believe it. Zhang Wu smiled bitterly. Even a person as magnificent as her felt a sense of frustration when she watched Yang Hao practice. I have never seen anyone practice like this. From a powerful breakthrough to a giant, it only takes 1 year. Who would believe it? 1,000 years is not an exaggeration. How can a breakthrough be achieved in 1 year? This brat are you going to preach before me? In the past, Yang Hao was still extremely weak, and Zhongwu didn't feel much about it. But now as Yang Hao is about to enter the realm of giants, he is not too far away from the saint level. Although he wants to become a saint or even realize the Tao, there are still an unknown distance requires growth. But Yang Hao is too evil. In this world, who can tell clearly? Wandeo Pavilion is about to open. You should be able to catch up, right? The only thing that worries Zhongwu is that as time goes by, Yang Hao is still in a state of enlightenment. The day before the opening of Wandeo Pavilion is getting closer and closer. On this day, there are still 3 days before the opening of Wandeo Pavilion. Yang Hao stepped through the 9th level of the God King and became a giant. The purple energy dissipated, and he walked out like a god descending to earth. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 157. 3 days later, Yang Hao arrived in Zhongzhou by flying boat. Wandeo Pavilion will be open today. However, as you become a giant, you should understand the laws of all things. This time you enter Wandeo Pavilion and you can take this opportunity to understand the 9 special laws. Maybe by the time he walks out, he will have already condensed his vitality and become an eternal giant. On the flying boat, Zhongwu said jokingly to Yang Hao. Yang Hao was speechless when he heard what Zhongwu said. He just thought what Zhongwu said made sense. He thought so too. Cultivation is not about eating and drinking. How can it be so easy to break through? Auntie, I want to be down to earth and take one step at a time. Yang Hao said seriously without changing his expression. However, the aura of the giant that washed away from his body made Zhongwu roll his eyes. Yang Hao smiled and cursed, okay. I have no way to enter Wandeo Pavilion. This trip is entirely up to you. But with your current background, even the emperor cannot protect himself in your hands, so my aunt feels a little more relieved. In addition to you, there are 5 people in the Holy Land. In the future, you will be the designated Holy Master, and they will all be under your jurisdiction. If you have a larger temperament, if you have the opportunity, you can share it with them. Hearing Zhongwu's reminder, Yang Hao said with a smile, this is natural. Of course I'll take the bulk myself, but since they are geniuses from the Holy Land, it's okay to leave some soup for them. Yang Hao's flamboyant words did not disgust Zhongwu. Instead, Zhongwu reminded her again the soup also depends on what kind of soup it is. Don't be too honest. If they are all good things, it is good to keep them by yourself. There is nothing wrong with being prepared. Yunyin, who was in the Wei Tower at the moment, was completely helpless when she heard Zhongwu's somewhat contradictory words. This holy master's love for his master has penetrated deep into his bones and cannot be changed at all. Don't you know what your master's character is? Honest. If you don't cramp and skin others, then you're already thankful to God. I listen to my aunt on everything. Has Lord Longshan arrived? Who is the chief saint this time? Tianji or Tianzhu? How do I remember that there are no more sacred ceremonies in the Holy Land? Yang Hao suddenly asked curiously after responding to Zhongwu's reminder. On the day he accepted the title, he entered a state of enlightenment. It was not until 3 days ago that he broke through the giant realm and ended this opportunity. But at that time, everything the Deo Pavilion is about to open, and the genius who entered the Wandeo Pavilion in the Holy Land of Eternal Life has arrived at the Wandeo Pavilion one step ahead. He doesn't care about the others. They are not from the same era, but he is a little curious about the Chief Holy Son. Lord Longshan seemed to be completely trapped in a secret realm. Even if he had the opportunity to go to Wandeo Pavilion, he did not get a response from him. He should have missed this trip to Wandeo Pavilion. As for the chief saint, heavenly right. Zhongwu heard this and immediately said without thinking, Tianquan? The new son of heaven? In just 1 year, he has already overpowered other saints and saints. As expected, evildoers appear in large numbers in this world. Yang Hao sighed casually after hearing this. Zhongwu looked at the biggest monster in the world in front of her, but she shook her head and said, how could there be so many monsters born? Tianquan is Mingzun. For this opportunity, he fell down on his own, fell from power to king, and regained his seat as the son of heaven. Hearing this, Yang Hao blinked his eyes. Can it still be like this? I have only heard of people breaking through madly, but never of falling into the state myself. Mingzun is able to inherit a title, and he is also a genius and monster, but he is so decisive, he is really a ruthless person. Just special circumstances. With Mingzun's strength, he is not qualified to enter Wandao Pavilion. But this time the position of Chief Holy Sun is vacant. You broke through, and Hong Yuan was suppressed again. Both Tianji and Tianchu are far less talented, and it would be a waste to give them the quota in Wandao Pavilion. Only Tianxuan's talent is pretty good, and she has been rising in recent years, but her strength is still a little bit behind. Therefore, Mingzun chose this opportunity. He can be regarded as a person with great perseverance and great will. Zhongwu sighed. The great power must cut off the connection with the law and break the condensed Taoist heart. This experience can be said to be 10,000 times more painful than 1,000 arrows piercing the heart. Yang Hoguang just thought about it. Even I feel a little creepy. It seems that Wandao Pavilion's opportunity is a bit beyond my imagination. Yang Hao sighed. The opportunity that can make a peerless talent go there even if he is willing to fall into trouble is enough to prove how majestic it is. Yes. Take a chance. This time the best from all the holy places will come. There are a total of 81 people admitted to Wandao Pavilion, which is exactly the number of 99. Linfeng from the Holy Land of Creation, Luanyang Tianjun from the Yin-Yang Holy Land, Zhuolong Emperor from the 10,000 Laws Holy Land, and Earth Overlord from the Qinqin Holy Land all need to pay attention. There is another person, the Heavenly Sword Emperor, who is not from the Holy Land, but is from the Eternal Sword sect of the Northern Desert. This person may be hostile to you. The ancient divine sword was borrowed from the Eternal Sword sect back then. Zhongwu roughly explained to Yang Hao the powerful men from the major holy lands who participated in Wandao Pavilion during this trip. Except for him and the chief saints of the major holy lands, almost all of them were emperors. The only exception was Yin Yang. Fang Qingying from the Holy Land also got a quota to enter Wandao Pavilion. However, Fang Qingying, whose cultivation realm was once stronger than Yang Hao's, is now completely lower than him after Yang Hao's crazy breakthrough. After all, it was only a short time. In 1 year, even Fang Qingying, who has the fate of a heroine, is still only in the realm of the Divine King. Heavenly Sword Emperor. In addition to paying attention to Linfeng and Fang Qingying, Yang Hao also deliberately paid attention to the name of the Heavenly Sword Emperor. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. At this time, he finally knew where his eternal divine sword came from. Most likely, his overbearing aunt got the eternal sword from Zone borrowed it. Of course, Yang Hao wouldn't say anything. My aunt borrowed the sword to give face to the eternal sword sect. If he dared to cause trouble for him, he wouldn't mind borrowing a few more swords from the eternal sword sect. With his current strength, he has the confidence to challenge the top forces on Zaiwei Star except the Holy Land. In addition to these strong men from other forces, Yang Hao naturally also noticed the outstanding ones coming to the Holy Land of Eternal Life this time. Eternal Life, the lineup of the Holy Land, is also extremely powerful. Except for Mingzun, the other 4 are all emperors of the 9th level, and are only 1 step away from becoming a saint. The strongest one among them, named Emperor Ningxin, is actually an empress. Yang Hao paid attention. Arrive. The flying boat paused, and Yang Hao heard Zhongwu's reminder. He followed Zhongwu out, and the place turned out to be a grand scene. The sun was setting over the long river, and the sky and the earth were boundless. The scenery looked particularly beautiful. Below, there were extremely powerful lines. The aura is overflowing. Just the gathering of these auras can make some extremely powerful beasts escape far away, let alone idle practitioners. There is no doubt that this place is already a restricted area. Those who trespass will die. Lord Zhang. Emperor Zun. When the two people's flying boat entered the sky above this restricted area, it had already attracted the attention of many powerful people. At this time, when they saw Yang Hao and Zhang Wu walking out, all the figures were extremely polite to Yang Hao and Zhang Wu. He greeted. Even if there are strong people gathering here, Yang Hao's cultivation level can only be regarded as low level. But those who can come here are all the top powers in Zhiwei Star. Who would be so superficial? It's just Yang Hao, the emperor. His title is enough to make too many people look at him with awe. This is a powerful man who defies heaven. Not to mention Yang Hao's other identities. Elder Zhang. Emperor Zun. At this moment, one after another strong men from the eternal Holy Land also flew out. Compared with other strong men who had already called them smoothly, they were naturally more attentive and respectfully addressed Zhang Wu, who was no longer the Holy Master, as elder. So many strong men, naturally, there are more than 5 people who have entered Wandao Pavilion. Obviously, besides them, there are many powerful people from the Holy Land of eternal life here. On the one hand, it is to attract Wandao Pavilion to come. On the other hand, it is also to show the majesty of the great Holy Land. The arrival of Hao and Zhang Wu obviously attracted a lot of attention. But soon, everyone's attention was diverted. Wandao Pavilion was about to open. One after another, sages from major holy places came out, and they were all the oldest heritage of the major holy places. These sages burst out with unparalleled pressure, attracting the heavens, and their breath soaring into the sky. Interesting. When Yang Hao saw this scene, his eyes flickered. He had already seen that the top beings of these major forces used the supreme secret method to activate the power of the major laws, and finally reached the ultimate of the laws, leading to the emergence of the corresponding avenues. With each the great principles avenue appeared, and the sky turned into colorful. The avenue galaxy appeared in front of Yang Hao's eyes. Wisps of starlight fell down. The ancient sages of the major powers began to vibrate the avenue again. Just like plucking the strings of a piano. Normally, they use their supreme power to sweep across the great Dao galaxy. Eventually, the great Dao galaxy produces ripples. These ripples are almost endless laws. Wandao Pavilion is open. Everyone, hurry up. Suddenly, an ancient sage from the Yin-Yang Holy Land said in a deep voice. Immediately, the figures of the emperors emerged like fish and dragons into the sea, and they burst into the void that was washed away by the ripples of the law. Yang Hao naturally showed a bright smile, flying into it with great confidence. He had a premonition that this time he would get an amazing opportunity. And, with the corner of his eye, he glanced at the crowd flying in from the Holy Land of Creation. Lin Feng's figure had already entered Wandao Pavilion. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 158. Kindness. The moment he traveled through the space and entered the Wandao Pavilion, Yang Hao squinted his eyes. There was no spiritual energy. There was no trace of spiritual energy in the entire Wandao Pavilion. You need to know that in this world of cultivation, spiritual energy is especially important to practitioners. For practitioners who build the foundation and are born from the sea of spiritual energy, it is like water to fish. Once there is no spiritual energy, if you only rely on the spiritual power born from the sea of spiritual energy, you will never be able to sustain the consumption of ordinary practice, fighting, etc. Secret realms such as Wandeo Pavilion should be opened for the first time in major holy places, so I don't know any information in it. I just seem to have received a revelation and know that there are great opportunities hidden in it, and there are even special laws. Yang Hao's mind turned. The lack of spiritual energy in Wandeo Pavilion would naturally have a negative impact on him. However, in contrast, his sea of spiritual energy has infinite spiritual power that far exceeds that of Superman. Even these emperors cannot compare with it. More don't say that in addition to the spiritual power of the sea of spiritual energy, he also has a large amount of flesh and blood essence of the immortal medicine. The immortal medicine is a unique thing in the world. Once it is refined, it has endless benefits. Restoring spiritual power is only the most basic effect compared to other practitioners who can only use immortal stones and elixirs to recover. I don't know how efficient it is. Wandeo Pavilion has no spiritual energy. Fortunately, I had expected it and was fully prepared. Voices came one after another, and it was obvious that they all had an insight into the strangeness of Wandeo Pavilion just like Yang Hao. At this moment, Yang Hao no longer paid attention to the lack of spiritual energy, but looked at the environment where he was. The clouds and mist are lingering, and the fairy spirit is permeated, making it look like a fairyland. The cloud platform slowly emerged not far away and landed in front of everyone. 1, 2, spreading upward until thousands of feet. Heading to the cloud platform, Yang Hao looked up and found that a seemingly invisible pavilion was looming thousands of feet above. Obviously, you need to climb up to enter that pavilion. He sensed it and found that apart from the lack of spiritual energy, there is a strange prohibition here. The instinct of cultivators, who can fly easily even in the Deo pattern realm, is completely prohibited here. Not to mention flying, even walking seems to be wearing heavy shackles, and it is extremely slow. It is more difficult to seek the way than to reach the sky. Before joining the cabinet, only for opportunities, no fighting. Those who are good at fighting will be chased away. At this time, not only Yang Hao, but also everyone had an inexplicable reaction in their minds. They all understood that this was a rule from Wandeo Pavilion. Before entering Wandeo Pavilion, they could not fight. And they wanted to enter in the Wandeo Pavilion, one has to climb up the cloud platforms one after another under heavy shackles, and finally enter the Wandeo Pavilion that is thousands of feet above. No wonder my aunt said before that no matter what realm you enter Wandeo Pavilion, you can gain something. It's just that on this cloud climbing platform, everyone is treated equally and only relies on character and perseverance to climb. Yang Hao's eyes were bright. Not only did he not have any intention of retreating, but he felt even more interesting. Not only him, but the other 80 people who entered this time were all outstanding people from various major forces. Naturally, they would not be defeated by one of them. Scared on the cloud platform. The first person to board the Yuntai can not only seize the opportunity first, but also obtain the privileges of Wandeo Pavilion and seize the opportunity in the future. Lin Feng stood calmly and looked at the climbing platform in front of Wandeo Pavilion. Compared with other geniuses who entered, he was reborn and naturally knew Wandeo Pavilion extremely well. Let these people go first. The more people climb the cloud tower and the longer it takes, the easier it will be for those who come after you. At that time, I will climb to the Yuntai again and become the first person to enter the Wandeo Pavilion. Lin Feng recalled the information about Wandeo Pavilion. He was about to become a saint at this moment. The situation was complete. He had completely discarded his previous caution and low-key. You guys, go on stage first. Lin Feng said calmly to other people entering the Holy Land of Creation. He understood that at his level, the more high profile he was, the more qualifications he could get. Otherwise, it would be impossible to get a place from Wandeo Pavilion today. When Lin Feng ordered the genius of the Holy Land of Creation, his eyes slightly glanced at Yang Hao from the corner of his eye. Emperor Zun. You should be the biggest variable since my rebirth. It may even be the root cause of my previous defeat in the true world divine formation. Whether it's because of Zhongwu or the hatred of blocking the way, this time I will keep you in Wandao Pavilion and make you completely fall into it. Lin Feng, who was able to become a quasi-emperor in his previous life, was not low in wisdom. Now that he has been reborn, he is cautious in everything, and has won many opportunities. He has reached this point in one fell swoop, relying even more on his careful thinking. Regarding the matter of the true realm divine formation, he has always been worried about it. Originally, Yang Hao and Zhongwu died, so that was it. But when Yang Hao and Zhongwu walked out of the true world divine formation, and there was no such person as Yang Hao in the previous life, Lin Feng was already convinced. It turned out that Yang Hao was most likely responsible for his defeat in the true world divine formation. He even boldly guessed whether Yang Hao was reborn like him. The other party's rise trajectory was not at all better than his. Worse, even worse. This is simply unreasonable. Yang Hao was investigating Lin Feng, and Lin Feng was also secretly studying Yang Hao. In the end, Lin Feng came to a very simple conclusion. Since Yang Hao was a factor beyond his control, he will completely eliminate it. Eliminating the unstable factors will also allow him to pursue Zhongwu more smoothly. This is a killing two birds with one stone. His murderous intention is no weaker than Yang Hao. When Lin Feng ordered the genius of the Holy Land of Creation to ascend the cloud platform at this time, other geniuses from all major forces also began to climb the cloud platform. In the blink of an eye, nearly 60 of the 81 people who entered had begun to climb onto the cloud platform, trying to climb step by step. As for the others, including Yang Hao and Lin Feng, they all carefully watched the other geniuses climbing the cloud platform. After making a decision, the cloud platform spreads thousands of miles, and the time required to climb the Wandao Pavilion will not be short. Those who are able to come here are all geniuses. How could they not understand such a simple truth? Those geniuses who climb to the cloud platform one step ahead are just under orders. Including the chief saints who are extremely famous outside, they are also here. It's just the lowest level of existence. Under the cloud platform is an endless abyss. No one knows what will happen if it falls. Climbing to the cloud platform consumes a lot of physical and spiritual energy. In addition, there are heavy shackles and the spiritual energy cannot be replenished. The state of mind will be extremely tortured and it will test the mind. Yang Hao looked at the geniuses including the eternal Holy Land ascending the cloud platform, and slowly analyzed. But obviously, the better the foundation, the faster you can climb the platform. He found that among these geniuses, the more evil they are, the faster they can climb the cloud platform. Often, the more evil they are, the more solid and scary the foundation is. Yang Hao nodded slightly, which was a great advantage for him. He also planned to start climbing Yuntai and enter Wandao Pavilion in advance. Emperor Zun. This emperor is the Heavenly Sword Emperor. That which Zhongwu once snatched the ancient divine sword from the eternal sword section. I heard that it finally fell into your hands. Today, if I ascend to Wandao Pavilion before you, I will return the 10 ancient divine swords, okay? Just when Yang Hao was about to ascend the cloud platform, a downcast swordsman in grey robe suddenly crossed in front of Yang Hao and said in a calm tone. Upon hearing this, Yang Hao glanced at the Heavenly Sword Emperor lightly and ignored the figure. In a flash, he headed towards the cloud platform. Stop. The Heavenly Sword Emperor's brows condensed with evil energy. I am speaking to you. His tone was a bit cold, which made many geniuses who had not yet climbed onto the platform subconsciously look over and look like they were watching a show. I heard that both the Heavenly Sword Emperor and Emperor Zun have bad tempers. It seems that the war is about to break out. Luan Yang Tianjun from Yin Yang Holy Land looked at the scene and said nonchalantly, with an aura of superiority. No matter how powerful Yang Hao is, he is just a great power, and his realm is too low. Although the Heavenly Sword Emperor is the emperor, but his background is one level lower than that of Yin-Yang Holy Land, so he naturally doesn't like him either. If we can't fight, what kind of trouble will it cause? A cold voice sounded, indifferent and ruthless. Luan Yang, Zhuolong, Lin Feng, Ning Xin, the four of you will be trampled by this emperor today, and you can only look up to me. This figure has a thin and shriveled figure, but his words are extremely domineering. In one word, he provokes the most powerful genius in the three holy places. As soon as he finished speaking, this person strode onto the cloud platform, and in an instant he was very fast. Climb 10 roots extremely quickly. The Earth Overlord always likes to think too much. When the 9 Dragons Emperor from the Holy Land of 10,000 Laws saw this scene, he also laughed loudly and walked towards the Yuntai. They are both the strongest in Wandeo Pavilion this time, and they only have eyes for each other. Whether it is Yang Hao or the Heavenly Sword Emperor, we're not taken seriously by them. Stop. Do you want to die? At this time, looking at Yang Hao's back gradually walking away, from the beginning to the end, Yang Hao ignored the Heavenly Sword Emperor's words, which made the Heavenly Sword Emperor's already arrogant character become angry. He had murderous intention towards Yang Hao. Originally, he was intimidated by the opponent's current power and tried his best to soften his words. He did not expect that a mere powerful person would be so arrogant and ignore him so far. But at this time, no matter what the Heavenly Sword Emperor said, Yang Hao still ignored him. Yang Hao the figure had already stepped onto the first cloud platform under the gaze of the Heavenly Sword Emperor. After stepping onto the cloud platform, Yang Hao, who was supposed to climb up quickly, suddenly paused. Then, he turned back from the cloud platform, coming towards where the Heavenly Sword Emperor is. What's up with him? Have you finally figured it out? So what if you were born into a noble family? So what if you have a monster talent? The difference between the mighty and the emperor, the difference between heaven and earth, is enough to make you surrender. When the Heavenly Sword Emperor saw this scene, he sneered. He had already thought about how to humiliate Yang Hao. An extremely terrifying wave came when the Heavenly Sword Emperor was thinking. Yang Hao did something beyond everyone's imagination. Action. In outside Wandeo Pavilion, who allowed the fight, he suddenly took action. Directly, kill the Heavenly Sword Emperor. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 159. Taking action? Did you finally enter Wandeo Pavilion just for a moment of excitement? The 9 Dragons Emperor, who had already boarded the cloud platform, looked at Yang Hao below in amazement as he took action against the Heavenly Sword Emperor. He felt a little unbelievable. I thought that to be able to be ranked as the main star of the avenue, I must be an extremely evil person, but I didn't expect that I only have talent and no bearing, and I am a waste. Luan Yang Tianjun glanced at it coldly, and continued to climb towards the Yuntai without looking back. He was extremely fast and was about to catch up with the Earth Overlord who had climbed hundreds of steps at the front. What is Emperor Zun doing? This won't work. However, Emperor Zun has never suffered a loss in his actions. Could it be that there is some backup plan? On the side of the Holy Land of Eternal Life, there is a tall, beautiful woman with skin as smooth as gelatin. She has an unforgettable charming temperament. At this moment, she frowns and looks at Yang Hao with some worry. She is the Ningxin Emperor of the Holy Land of Eternal Life. She has been there for many years. I witnessed Yang Hao creating miracles in the Holy Land for the first time. But Yang Hao was still weak in the past, but now he has been able to enter Wandeo Pavilion with her and get the opportunity. Emperor Ningxin has a good impression of Yang Hao and is very curious about him. So, when he saw that Yang Hao couldn't help but take action, he had already thought of something. Anyone who knew Yang Hao knew his style of acting and had never suffered a loss. Even Lin Feng squinted his eyes at this moment and looked at Yang seriously. Hao, shining brightly. Madness. The Heavenly Sword Emperor was also shocked when he saw Yang Hao take action at this moment. But he turned into a sneer and remained unmoved in the face of the oppressive aura that came like a mountain. The monsters who can enter this place already know that they are in Wandeo rules outside the pavilion. He did not expect Yang Hao to be so restless, but he had already anticipated Yang Hao's outcome. Chi. The next moment, a slight voice was heard. A series of killing sword intentions appeared on the Heavenly Sword Emperor from top to bottom almost instantly. But these killing sword intentions did not come from those who were good at it. The Heavenly Sword Emperor wields a sword. Instead, Yang Hao instantly launched a prehistoric killing array and brought it down. Blood, like threads, burst out crazily from the Heavenly Sword Emperor's body. His incredible eyes, even until when life comes to an end, everyone stares at Yang Hao. Why? With the Emperor's extremely tenacious vitality, the Heavenly Sword Emperor finally asked his inner confusion before his death. Why? Why was Yang Hao able to take action unscrupulously in front of Wandeo Pavilion where he could not take action? Why was the other party able to take action successfully? He was not expelled. Why did he just sneer at Yang Hao, and then he was met with such an explosive counterattack? Being so unscrupulous and arrogant, is this the character that a peerless talent from the great Holy Land should have? Oh! Your clothes are too dirty today. Yang Hao's voice sounded slowly, as if just to satisfy the Heavenly Sword Emperor's last question before his death. It was too troublesome to even use his brain, and he casually weaved a clumsy lie. But at this moment, no one thought it was ridiculous. Devil. Emperor Zun is not a good person at all, but a complete devil. Except for the geniuses of the Holy Land of Eternal Life, all the others have cold hands and feet. They can't understand why Yang Hao is so evil. With just a few words, the Heavenly Sword Emperor can ignore the rules and kill the opponent. In fact, not only was he not beaten by Wandeo, the Heavenly Sword Emperor hadn't even evaded the pavilion's expulsion. Did Wandeo Pavilion restrict the Heavenly Sword Emperor's attacks, or was Yang Hao so powerful that even the Emperor couldn't dodge? Many people tend to be the former. After all, everyone I know that Emperor Zun has just become powerful, and there are many mountains between the powerful and the Emperor. Even if Emperor Zun is ranked as the main star of the avenue, even if Emperor Zun is the strongest in 100,000 years, it is impossible to overcome this almost infinite distance. Not good. At this moment, Lin Feng, who was watching on the sidelines, suddenly changed. He almost took 3 steps and 2 steps at a time and turned into an afterimage at high speed. He rushed towards the cloud platform in a hurry. When he just landed on the cloud platform, suddenly an incomparable sword intent came. On the Huangquan Road, he directly killed Lin Feng at the position where he was standing just now. In addition to the Huangquan Road, the Great Desolate Killing Formation also appeared at Lin Feng's position. Pity. Seeing Lin Feng get on the platform first, Yang Hao's eyes flashed with disappointment. The other party was obviously on guard against him and was quite alert. The moment he killed the Heavenly Sword Emperor, he had already taken action against Lin Feng. It's a pity. What's more, there is a strange prohibition outside Wandeo Pavilion, and even he cannot use his full strength. The most important thing is that Yang Hao does not intend to kill Lin Feng, but wants to suppress him and torture his secrets. He simply has no intention of killing Lin Feng. He concealed his hostility towards Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was obviously the same. There was almost no direct contact between the two. However, both sides had malice towards each other. At their level, they could have a sense of empathy. But Yang Hao unexpectedly, Lin Feng reacted too quickly and actually took the lead and boarded the cloud platform in advance. Getting on the cloud platform was considered to be a test of Wandeo Pavilion. Even he could not interrupt Wandeo Pavilion's test, and naturally he could not do it again. Take action. I didn't expect that the main star of the avenue would have such privileges. However, Yang Hao was not disappointed. He had just arrived at Wandao Pavilion and he had too much time to deal with Lin Feng. What surprised him was that when he boarded the cloud platform just now, he actually got a series of weapons that belonged to him. Unique privilege. That's why there was a scene where he returned to kill the Heavenly Sword Emperor. With Yang Hao's character, flaws must be reported. If there are enemies, they will usually be killed on the spot. It is impossible to settle accounts later. Since the Heavenly Sword Emperor showing hostility, in order to avoid the other party causing trouble later, Yang Hao naturally had the intention to kill at the first moment. However, he ignored the Tianjian Emperor at first because he could not fight before entering Wandao Pavilion. But when he stepped on the cloud platform, after sensing that he had the privilege, it was really not strange at all to instantly kill the Heavenly Sword Emperor. Not only that, he also conveniently attacked Lin Feng. Unfortunately, the other party was alert, which made Yang Hao a little disappointed. That's all. Yang Hao didn't have too many regrets and didn't care what others thought. He climbed onto the cloud platform and prepared to enter Wandao Pavilion first. Emperor Zun has a grudge against Maple Emperor. I've never heard of the two of them having much interaction. Strange, it seems that Feng Huang is not surprised. There must be a story between the two. The Feng Emperor is Lin Feng. At this time, the shock of Yang Hao's killing of Queen Tianjian had dissipated. After all, only the Heavenly Sword Emperor entered the Eternal Sword sect alone. The lowest level of the geniuses who were qualified to enter the Wandao Pavilion were the chief saints of the major holy places. Naturally, after being shocked, they focused on Yang Hao took action against Lin Feng. However, there was just a fight between the two and it did not continue. Both Lin Feng and Yang Hao were immersed in climbing the cloud platform, with an extremely strange tacit understanding, without even a trace of conversation. The opportunity is now. The other geniuses could only pay attention secretly, and at the same time warn themselves not to easily offend the moody Yang Hao, who was prone to killing people, and then they all began to concentrate on climbing the cloud platform. Now, at the front of the Yuntai is the Earth Overlord. Not far behind the Earth Overlord is Juju, who is about to catch up. Emperor. But not all of the others are emperors. Fang Qingying and one of the chief saints of the Holy Land of All Laws followed closely behind. There is no doubt that, as Yang Hao judged before, Dengai Untai is not about realm, but about foundation and accumulation. The stronger the foundation, the faster you can climb the cloud platform. But as the cloud platform climbs, both those with strong foundations and those with little experience begin to sweat profusely and find it extremely difficult. The platform is obviously not that easy to climb. Every time you climb a cloud platform, there will be strange obstacles on the corresponding cloud platform. In the realm of great power, if you encounter obstacles of laws, you need to constantly break them before you can move forward. Under the realm of great power, if there is an obstruction from the killing formation, if you can break or resist the killing formation, you can climb up. In this way, the chief saints had the advantage. But when everyone was struggling to climb the cloud platform, an alien appeared. A figure walked with his hands behind his back, as graceful as an immortal. He climbed up lightly, as if every cloud platform had no obstacles for him. Emperor Zun. He climbed up so fast that he had already surpassed the 9-Dragon Emperor and the Earth Overlord, gradually pulling them away. It's not just zoomed out anymore, Emperor Zun is almost out of sight. This is really terrible. He is worthy of being the most talented genius in the world. The eyes of the geniuses flickered as they watched this figure walk up indifferently. The speed was more than 10 times or 100 times faster than them. The figure is naturally Yang Hao. These geniuses, who are usually looked up to by others and have been in power all their lives, now have mixed feelings. Today, they finally saw the real heaven-defying existence. There are even Tianjiao who have foreseen that it will most likely be an extremely sad thing for them to live in the same era as Yang Hao. They will always live in the shadow of this evildoer and will be unable to escape. Damn it! So that's it? At this moment, Lin Feng's speed was also extremely fast, and he quickly surpassed the 9-Dragon Emperor and the Earth Overlord, becoming the second person in the Yuntai sequence. But compared to Yang Hao, the gap between the first and second place has widened. Opened hundreds of steps. Lin Feng looked ugly, but he already knew that after stepping onto the cloud platform, he knew that his plan had completely failed. The first person to enter the Wandeo Pavilion would definitely be Yang Hao. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 160. Wandeo Pavilion is a secret realm of chance where many powerful forces in the Ziwei star gather countless wisdom and lead down from the Dao galaxy. I shouldn't be misled by the information I had in my previous life. I should have thought of that. Lin Feng looked at Yang Hao's figure with gloomy eyes and had completely disappeared. He was clearly ahead of the third person by nearly 100 clouds, but he was still far behind Yang Hao. He now fully understood. Daozing, the position above, is very likely to occupy endless advantages in this secret realm led by the Dao galaxy. Because he also has privileges. In this life, he is no longer as unknown as in the previous life. Only later did he gradually rise up. He has always been one of the most dazzling geniuses of this era. So Lin Feng had already taken the lead and ranked as the Dao Tiangang star of the Dao galaxy. When he became the Dao Tiangang star, he was even ranked first in the Ziwei star. Before Xiao Qing. When he stepped onto the cloud platform, Lin Feng sensed information that belonged to him and was absorbed by him. Ranked in the Dao Tiangang star, he can ignore some of the rules of Wandeo Pavilion. Not only that, he can also get Wandeo Pavilion rules. The pavilion favors him. Others who climb the cloud terrace will encounter various tests. But he is different. When he climbs the cloud terrace, all the tests will be greatly reduced. Even, it is very likely to replenish his spiritual power. Get insights, etc. These are all opportunities unique to Dao Tiangang star. What I knew about my previous life was wrong. It's not that the more people climb, the easier it will be for those who are further back to climb the platform. But those who climb the cloud platform at the back are often the proud ones. They are either ranked in the evil stars of the avenue or the stars of the avenue. Naturally, they climbed faster and faster, pulling everyone further away. Yang Hao is the main star of the avenue, and his privileges naturally overwhelm others. With Jueshan, he can enter Wandeo Pavilion first. Lin Feng's eyes flashed, and he understood completely. The third person behind him was Fang Qingying. Lin Feng knew her. This is a peerless genius in the Holy Land of Creation, and his talent is even more than that of an emperor who also entered the Holy Land of Creation. Today, more it was the existence that inspired the Dao galaxy and became the third Ziwei star in the Dao Tiangang star. Behind Fang Qingying, there were the Earth Overlord, 9 Dragons Emperor, Ning Xian Emperor and others. Among them there was also the chief holy son of the 10,000 Laws Holy Land. They are all ranked as evil stars in the avenue. After understanding everything, Lin Feng's face became more and more ugly. He already knew Yang Hao very well. This is a very domineering person. Once he is allowed to enter Wandeo Pavilion in advance, I am afraid that those all opportunities will be robbed by him. If I remember correctly, the first person to enter Wandeo Pavilion will be able to obtain the Divine Crystal of Destruction and the Divine Crystal of Curse, which contain special laws. Lin Feng took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and calculated quickly in his mind. He knew that if he wanted to get the opportunity this time, even if he relied on his foresight and past life memories, it would not be as easy as before. Because he wanted to, the opponent he faced was an anomaly that also did not exist in his memory. He must be killed. Even if he has nothing to do with Zhang Wu, he will never be allowed to live. As long as he is here, I will be shrouded in his shadow for the rest of my life. Now that he is still weak and only in the powerful realm, this trip is an excellent opportunity. Lin Feng's murderous intent became more and more intense, but the speed of his feet exploded again, and he climbed onto several cloud platforms in succession. At this time, Yang Hao had already left everyone far behind, thousands of steps ahead of all the geniuses who had entered Wandao Pavilion. Just as Lin Feng guessed, being the main star of the avenue brought him great privileges. For others, climbing the cloud platform requires a lot of energy and spiritual power, and their character suffers. But he is different. Every time he ascends a cloud platform, he will gain strength and even gain enlightenment. While others are suffering, he is getting opportunities. This is the privilege of the main star of the avenue. Just like that, even if he was facing the cloud platform while climbing, his speed was getting faster and faster, leaving all the geniuses far behind. Reached the top. There is some pity. At this moment, Yang Hao is getting closer and closer to Wandao Pavilion, which is thousands of feet above. Naturally, the number of cloud platforms under his feet is getting smaller and smaller. He feels very regretful, and even has some unfinished thoughts. But Yang Hao knows that he will enter Wandao Pavilion next. I am afraid that I will get a greater opportunity. Even if I feel it is a pity, the speed is still getting faster and faster, and I have arrived in front of Wandao Pavilion in the blink of an eye. Kindness. Just when Yang Hao was about to step into Wandao Pavilion, his footsteps suddenly stopped on the last cloud platform. He remembered Zhang Wu's instructions. Indeed, the future of the Holy Land of eternal life belongs to me, and the genius of these holy lands should take care of it. He nodded, and then thought for a moment. He actually walked down from the last cloud platform to hundreds of cloud platforms. From here, it should be fine. Yang Hao looked at the cloud platform about 100 steps away from Wandao Pavilion. Without thinking, he started to move from this cloud platform. He used the privileges of the main star of the avenue to erase the test that this cloud platform originally had. Then, inscribed one after another, there are extremely mysterious formations and laws. The laws are all composed of extremely profound laws of time and space. With Yang Hao's attainments in the laws of time and space, his attainments in the laws of space are just that. His laws of time have reached the level of self-creation. At the level of the law, even the emperor who entered could not compete with him. As for the formation patterns, they were all composed of ancient runes that he had comprehended in the past, and each one was profound and infinite. But whether it was the engraved formation patterns or the laws, they are all engraved secrets of the Holy Land of eternal life. These secrets are secrets that every genius of the Holy Land of eternal life will definitely learn. They will definitely be able to understand them clearly when they encounter them, and they can also solve them. But other holy lands. Yang Hao outlined the corners of his mouth. A touch of arc. He is the supreme level array master, and with the guidance of Yunyan, he has buried more than just laws and array patterns. Once triggered, a mini prehistoric killing array will completely erupt. With the strength of these geniuses who entered, although you won't die, but you will definitely suffer heavy losses. The master's heart is too dark. Yunyan shuddered when he saw this scene. This Wandao Pavilion was clearly a place of chance. Under Yang Hao's arrangement, it almost became a place of life and death and many traps. Yang Hao didn't care. He had already seen it. There are such designs outside Wandao Pavilion. It is clear that this is a secret realm of opportunity that needs to be fought over. Naturally, he will not be afraid of competitors. But if there is a chance to hinder them, then he will naturally be ruthless and vicious. So be it. Yang Hao smiled lightly, and after finishing all the arrangements for the last 100 cloud platforms outside the Wandao Pavilion, he headed inside the Wandao Pavilion. Although he could not bless the privileges to the disciples of the Holy Land of eternal life, he had this last opportunity. With the 100 Dao cloud terrace blocking the way, even the backward geniuses of the Holy Land of Eternal Life would definitely be able to enter the Wandeo Pavilion one step ahead of others. Just after Yang Hao entered the Wandeo Pavilion, about tens of minutes later, a figure gradually appeared. It's finally here. This figure can naturally only be Lin Feng. He frowned. After entering Wandeo Pavilion, he was pressed down by Yang Hao, which made him feel a little depressed. Fortunately, I figured out a way. It shouldn't be a big problem for you. Lin Feng's lips traced an evil smile. With his foresight, he suppressed a peerless genius. This was undoubtedly an extremely satisfying thing. Boom. But at the next moment, Lin Feng, who had just stepped onto the cloud platform, felt as if he was struck by thunder, and the world was spinning. Why is this cloud platform different from before? Lin Feng was stunned. A series of extremely mysterious laws and formations formed a formation in a wonderful rhythm, and appeared in front of his eyes. He had a strong warning sign. If these laws and formations cannot be formed in a short time, if the formation is cracked, then you will encounter great terror. Could it be that the closer you are to Wandeo Pavilion, the more dangerous the test on the cloud platform will be? Lin Feng's face was gloomy. He looked at the road to Wandeo Pavilion that could be seen in front of him. Yang Hao was no longer there, and he felt even more jealous. If it was such a complicated formation, it would definitely not be possible with Yang Hao's strength. Enter quickly. There is no doubt that Lin Feng expected that this must be the privilege of the opponent's main star, which made Yang Hao ignore such a test. Boom. Boom. Next, Lin Feng began to crack one cloud platform after another with great difficulty. Even the figures of Fang Qingying and De Bie Huang gradually appeared behind them. They also encountered such problems. Yang Hao obviously forgot about Fang Qingying's existence, so he trapped Fang Qingying here. This directly caused all the geniuses behind Yang Hao to be on top of the last 100 cloud platforms, and it was extremely difficult to crack the kindness. The Ningxin Emperor of the Eternal Life Holy Land was extremely confused at this time. She discovered that the formations engraved on these cloud platforms could be broken open easily by using the secret method of eternal life. Not only her, but also the other geniuses of the Eternal Life Holy Land who gradually climbed up, discovered such a secret. When they gradually surpassed the second place Lin Feng and entered Wandeo Pavilion, Lin Feng and others finally understood. Yang Hao, a shameless and sinister person, Lin Feng's face was gloomy. Such a strange situation has become too obvious. The 100 cloud platforms from the end of Wandeo Pavilion are not the original test at all, but left by Yang Hao. This did not happen at all in the previous life. Such a thing has happened. Everyone is vying for opportunities. Who would put their minds on such evil? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 161. Time goes back to 1 hour ago. Yang Hao walked in casually and was the first to enter Wandeo Pavilion. As expected of Wandeo Pavilion, even Yang Hao, who was used to big scenes, subconsciously took a breath at this moment. In front of you, the pearls are shining brightly, and there are countless divine objects. Dao pattern. Divine body essence. The ultimate divine weapon. Various laws of divine crystals. As Yang Hao's eyes swept across, one after another divine objects fell in his eyes. These divine objects were just like the ones he had encountered in the 9-colored heavenly gate. The Dao Pavilion is completely filled. Among them, there are actually Dao patterns that can be directly absorbed, as well as essences that can be used to build a divine body. Of course, it is not that you can have it immediately after absorbing and refining, but it requires an incomparable amount to be possible. Condensing a divine pattern or forging a divine body. Moreover, the prerequisite is that you really have that kind of talent. Otherwise, These rare objects will only be wasted by a waste stream. Even so, these divine objects are still it is extremely rare. If it were placed in the outside world, even a saint would bleed for it. However, Yang Hao naturally looked down on these. His eyes were on the divine crystals that shone with various colors. These divine crystals, just like the time divine crystal and the void divine crystal, they contain a large number of special laws that can be directly comprehended. Divine objects like these are the ones that can help him the most when he enters the realm of giants. I see. Wandeo Pavilion is divided into floors, but it is not a real pavilion, but a floor is a world. The place I am now on is the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion, which is also a place of opportunity. Just as Yang Hao's eyes flickered and he swept his gaze, a series of thoughts came to him, making him understand the rules of Wandeo Pavilion. The first floor of Wandeo Pavilion is a reward for the talented people who can climb the cloud platform. The more those who enter earlier will be able to obtain a larger number of divine items. I am the first one to enter and get 10 divine items. In addition, I am the main star of the avenue, and I have the right to get 10 additional divine objects. Once the collection of divine objects is completed, you will be automatically transported to the second floor of Wandeo Pavilion. Yang Hao has understood the rules. On the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion, there are about 100 divine objects. If he takes away 20 divine objects, almost a fifth will be empty. Except for the chief saint, almost all the people who entered were emperors. For them, there are only about 30 or so magical objects on the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion. Every time one is missing, one will disappear permanently. If the magic circle I set up in front of Wandeo Pavilion is effective, then all the opportunities of Wandeo Pavilion should be obtained by the Holy Land of Eternal Life. Not a loss either. Yang Hao carefully observed all the divine objects in front of him, his eyes twinkling. Under Yunyan's advice, he quickly selected 20 of the rarest divine objects on the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion. These were selected by him, you only need to touch it to collect it directly. Of course, once it exceeds 20 levels, it is useless to collect it again. At that time, there will be an extremely mysterious prohibition that blocks the power of collection. The divine crystal of destruction contains special laws of destruction. Cursed divine crystal, containing special laws and cursed laws. Yang Hao successively absorbed all 19 divine objects into the sea of spiritual energy in his body, and was extremely satisfied. These divine objects are also very useful to him. It's a pity, this place is a place where opportunities are gathered, even I can't fight. It seems that we can only take the first step. Yang Hao originally thought of bringing Lin Feng here, but after sensing the rules, he knew that he couldn't do anything here. His fingers that were about to collect the divine object could only sink into it and collect it. After collecting it, Yang Hao's figure suddenly disappeared from the sky. The first floor of the pavilion disappeared. Yang Hao, who appeared on the second floor of Wandeo Pavilion, instantly became extremely weird after sensing the rules of the second floor. His aura was expanding crazily at this moment. Eternal Giant. Emperor. Accurate. Holy. In the blink of an eye, his cultivation reached the quasi-saint realm under the blessing of almost endless special rules. It's getting more and more interesting. He sensed everything on the second level. After entering the second level, his status as the main star of the avenue once again exerted its privileges. Now, my identity on this level is, Pavilion Master. Yang Hao murmured to himself, sat cross-legged, and began to realize the opportunities of this level as the Pavilion Master, and waited for the newcomers to enter. After Yang Hao had entered the second floor for a long time, the second person finally arrived on the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion. It was an extremely slender white leg that stepped in. Emperor Ning Xian, the proud emperor of the eternal Holy Land. She was already ranked among the evil stars of the Great Dao, but she was just a step or so behind the Nine Dragons Emperor, Earth Overlord, Luan Yang Tianjun, and others. But when everyone arrived at the last 100 cloud platforms outside Wandeo Pavilion, the ancient killing array left by Yang Hao exploded crazily under the trigger of these geniuses. Those who are more proficient in formations are better off. As long as they are patient and spend a lot of time deciphering the formations left by Yang Hao, they can move forward. It would be extremely miserable for those who were inferior in formation attainments. Many geniuses were seriously injured and dying due to the killing array. I almost fell off the cloud platform and fell into the abyss. I don't know if I was teleported out of Wandeo Pavilion or started all over again. When we arrived at the disciples of the Eternal Holy Land, it was naturally a different scene. Emperor Zun, what an interesting person. Emperor Ning Xian moved lightly, receiving one after another rule information from Wandeo Pavilion. Thinking of the scene outside Wandeo Pavilion just now, she couldn't help but reveal a thrilling smile. She was very curious about Yang Hao and wanted to know more about Yang Hao. And even had a bold idea. But now, she needs to catch up with Yang Hao first. I am the second person to enter, can I get 5 divine items? The identity of Deshadeo Seeing allows me to choose 3 additional items. After understanding the rules, Emperor Ningxin flashed her charming eyes and began to pick and choose. Finally, she quickly picked up and teleported to the second floor. After Emperor Ningxin teleported away, there were figures one after another. As time went by, I entered Wandeo Pavilion. But these figures, without exception, are all the geniuses of the Holy Land of Eternal Life. Including Mingzun, who became the chief Holy Sun after his fall, they have all come from behind and surpassed Lin Feng to enter here. Naturally, under the division of these disciples of the Eternal Holy Land, nearly half of the treasure light on the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion has disappeared. Among the remaining divine objects, it is not bad for the chief saints, at least there are still divine objects that they can use. But for emperors such as Luan Yang Tianjun, Earth Overlord, and Lin Feng, it is undoubtedly bad news. All the divine objects suitable for the Emperor's realm have been looted by the geniuses of the Eternal Holy Land. Thank you, Emperor, I will never forget this kindness. I have this opportunity today, I will definitely keep it in my heart in the future. These geniuses from the Holy Land of Eternal Life are extremely grateful to Yang Hao. They crossed the last 100 cloud platforms and looked at the extremely miserable appearance of the geniuses of other major forces. They were shocked and thankful at the same time. Fortunately, Emperor Zun cared about the friendship between the Holy Land and did not trap them together. Otherwise, they would not have been able to enter Wandeo Pavilion first. How many of the talented people are stupid? They all knew who they were blessed with, and they were naturally grateful for Yang Hao's kindness. If it weren't for Yang Hao, except for Emperor Ningxin, it would be impossible for anyone else to compete with those peerless geniuses from other major forces. Even Mingzun, who had had some interaction with Yang Hao in the past and even looked down on Yang Hao, was filled with gratitude at this moment. After all the disciples of the Eternal Holy Land teleported away and entered the second level for a long time, the disgraced Lin Feng finally broke through the cloud platform and came to Wandeo Pavilion. Yang Hao, I want you to die. Lin Feng, who was originally extremely gloomy, stepped into Wandeo Pavilion at this moment and found that all the opportunities had been robbed, and his face instantly turned livid. His anger rose, and he was extremely angry when he remembered what he had experienced in Yuntai before. The second floor of Wandeo Pavilion. The pavilion master is guarding it. Only by gathering the strength of everyone to defeat the pavilion master can we pass. Even if you get in first, you still can't defeat the pavilion master alone. At that time, I will make trouble, and would rather not have the opportunity of the second level, but let you gain nothing or even be severely damaged. Lin Feng recalled his understanding of Wandeo Pavilion and had planned everything. After he casually collected a few divine objects on the first floor of Wandeo Pavilion that had no great value to him at the moment, he left behind the last one was not collected, as if quietly waiting for others to arrive. Fang Qingying heard that you and Yang Hao once had a great feud. Now that you have come to Wandao Pavilion, you have been tricked and harmed by him. This ruined your opportunity. Are you willing to work with me to deal with Yang Hao? Luan Yang Tianjun, I know Yang Hao very well. He is narrow-minded, domineering and selfish. If you let him go ahead this time, he will definitely rob your opportunities like the first floor of Wandao Pavilion. Are you willing? Earth Overlord, I know you cultivate your domineering power and cultivate your domineering energy. There are people who are more domineering than you. Have you ever lacked your Taoist heart? Kowloon Emperor. Although Lin Feng was furious with Yang Hao, he did not lose his mind and became calmer. He stayed on the first floor of Wandao Pavilion, waiting for the peerless geniuses from all major forces to enter one after another. He pointed to the almost empty first floor of Wandao Pavilion. With a eloquent tongue and a lotus flower, he kept telling the truth, combining vertical and horizontal lines to mobilize the emotions of these unparalleled geniuses, hoping to persuade these people who were plotted by Yang Hao to deal with him together. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 162. Wandao Pavilion, second floor. Earned 50 million points for understanding the law of destruction. Earned 50 million points for understanding the law of the stars. Earned 50 million points for understanding the law of disaster. Yang Hao closed his eyes and concentrated, comprehending the many special laws in Wandao Pavilion. He was very surprised. Everything on the second floor of Wandao Pavilion exceeded his imagination. At this level, what actually needs to be done is to challenge the Pavilion Master of Wandao Pavilion. The Pavilion Master is transformed from the Great Dao Galaxy, and is made up of countless special laws. His strength is quasi-sacred. I am now the master of the pavilion. Although I can't use my own treasures, a steady stream of special laws will bless me, forcibly raising my strength to the quasi-sage realm. Of course, only on the second floor of Wandao Pavilion. Once I leave the second floor of Wandao Pavilion, the benefits will also be settled. Of course, corresponding to sitting on the second level, the more challengers I suppress, the more benefits I get. If I want to enter the third level, the only two ways are to be suppressed or to suppress all challengers. Yang Hao sighed. When others came to Wandao Pavilion, they had to rack their brains to think and struggle before they could get the opportunity. But because of his status as the main star of the avenue, he directly transformed into the Pavilion Master on the second floor. Even if there is no challenger coming at the moment, there will be a large number of special laws in him for him to understand and learn. This is a benefit that comes with the Pavilion Master, and there is no need to pay any price at all. With systematic automatic enlightenment, I hardly waste any time. In addition to digesting the special laws that are constantly comprehended by the system, he can also experience the power of the quasi-holy realm. In the quasi-sage realm, you can speak the law, and when you open your mouth, the law will surge out, forming a series of murderous intentions. Used with magical powers and killing formations, the combat power is completely different from that of the holy level. These are two completely different worlds. Yang Hao kept feeling emotional. For him, experiencing the cultivation of the quasi-sage realm is no less than an opportunity to comprehend special laws. Oh! The first challenger has arrived. Yang Hao suddenly sensed space fluctuations coming from Wandao Pavilion. He knew that a challenger was coming. It shouldn't be Lin Feng. At this level, I can directly suppress him. Yang Hao had already had the idea when he became the Pavilion Master. Originally, the Pavilion Master was only on this level. Even if the challenger could defeat the Pavilion Master, the Pavilion Master would not burst out with murderous intent. He would really challenge the Pavilion Master. Those who kill him. This Wandao Pavilion is indeed a place of pure chance, and does not aim at killing. Unfortunately, the current pavilion master is not the incarnation of the special law. He is the incarnation of it. Because of this, there are too many, the rules will change based on his thoughts. For example, originally, he could not take action before the challenger challenged him. But he can. Originally, this rule was naturally to give all challengers buffer time, waiting for them to take action together to deal with the pavilion master of the quasi-saint realm. Otherwise, it would be too difficult for the emperor's strength to defeat the quasi-saint realm. Yang Hao knew very well that even if he was not allowed to transform into the pavilion master, the 10,000 Dao pavilion would not be able to defeat the pavilion master of the quasi-sacred realm. The pavilion master who came from the gathering of special laws has equally terrifying strength, reaching the 9th level of the quasi-sacred realm. Like him, the longer he guards the 2nd floor of Wandao Pavilion, the more benefits he will get. Those who enter Wandao Pavilion will, the same is true for the challenger. The longer he can persist, the more benefits he will get. Although there is no doubt that the benefits are more for the pavilion master, the challenger can also get a lot, which is relatively fair. Emperor Ning Xian. Yang Hao now looked at the second person who stepped into Wandao Pavilion after him. With his extremely enchanting figure and temperament, Yang Hao instantly recognized the identity of Emperor Ning Xian. He was not surprised. He left a backup plan on the cloud platform. If Emperor Ning Xian cannot enter Wandao Pavilion for the second time, then he is not a genius, but a waste. On the 2nd floor of Wandao Pavilion, do you want to challenge the pavilion master? At this time, Emperor Ning Xian had just teleported over, but all the rules about the 2nd floor of Wandao Pavilion had gradually emerged in her mind, and she gradually showed a look of astonishment. It seems that we need to wait for the latecomers to join forces to surround the pavilion master. Emperor Zun has already arrived. I wonder if he is also waiting. With Emperor Ningxin's wisdom, she naturally understood the rules of the 2nd floor of Wandao Pavilion in an instant. She looked at the extremely vast space on the 2nd floor of Wandao Pavilion, trying to find Yang Hao's figure. No. It's strange. Emperor Zun must have reached the 2nd level. Could it be that he has already entered the 3rd level? Impossible. The pavilion master of this 2nd level is a quasi-pinnacle saint, the incarnation of the law who controls countless special laws. With the strength of the Emperor Supreme Realm, even if the pavilion master lets go, he will not be able to pass easily. There is only the figure of the master of Wandao Pavilion. The Ningxin Emperor frowned slightly and did not find Yang Hao's figure. She could only look at the figure of the pavilion master who was a little far away from her. From that figure, she had already felt the quasi-sage aura filled with many special laws. But Emperor Ning Xian, who already knew the rules, knew that unless he declared a challenge, this special incarnation of the pavilion master would not take action against her. Emperor Zun. When Emperor Ning Xian saw the face of the pavilion master, his delicate body trembled and he whispered subconsciously. It's me. I am the 2nd floor pavilion master. No need to be surprised. This is also a chance. You declare a challenge to me now. I will defeat my disciples of the Holy Land of Eternal Life in the end and let you get enough benefits. Of course, there is no free benefit in the world. In the end, I need to share half of the benefits gained by your level. Yang Hao looked at Emperor Ningxin and said calmly. This, you guy, is really unexpected. Emperor Ning Xian was extremely surprised when she heard the words. She did not expect that the master of the pavilion would be Yang Hao. After hearing Yang Hao's words, she almost without thinking, she burst out a terrifying aura towards Yang Hao and had the intention to fight. She knew the rules. As long as the challenger takes action against the pavilion master, even if he releases his momentum, the challenge will be considered effective. Although Yang Hao wants her to share the benefits equally, with her wisdom, how could she not think that the pavilion master is one of her own, and the benefits she will get in the end will definitely be far more than anyone else. She has not forgotten the ending of the previous level. Emperor Ningxin has completely understood Yang Hao's insidiousness and tyranny. So what if he shares half of the harvest? What he gets in the end will definitely be better than the geniuses of other major forces. Know how much more to gain. Kindness. Next, you can practice here and wait for other challengers to arrive. I will purify the breath of special laws and gain some insights. When Yang Hao saw that Emperor Ning Xian didn't even ask any nonsense questions, he understood what he meant and appreciated it very much. He washed away the special law aura attached to himself and let Emperor Ning Xian realize it on his own. Thank you, Emperor Zun. Emperor Ning Xian's beautiful eyes turned bright when she heard the words, and she became energetic. Even if she is a peerless genius who was born in the holy land of eternal life, even if her realm reaches that of an emperor, she still has an incomparable need for special laws. Now she is not only in the midst of a challenge, but she can also understanding the special laws without any damage. Where can I find such a good thing? She naturally thanked her hurriedly. After hearing this, Yang Hao ignored it. He also needed to seize the time to digest the benefits of the special laws that he got because of his status as the pavilion master. So, the two of them began to practice quietly on the second level. The eternal Holy Land Tianxiao, who was behind Emperor Ningxin, although his speed was not slow, was still left behind by a large margin. Emperor Zun, do you have a Taoist companion? As time went by, Ningxin Huang suddenly asked coldly. Taoist companion. When Yang Hao heard this, he tilted his head and looked at Emperor Ningxin. No. Although he didn't know why Emperor Ning Xian asked suddenly, he responded neatly while practicing. After coming to this world, he was threatened by the protagonist almost all the time. Even though he had suppressed several protagonists one after another, now beside his main star of the main road, the main star of the main road that represents Huang is still shining brightly, keeping him in a state of alert at all times. He has no time to talk about love. Of course, if we only talk about physical aspects, given his status, there is never a shortage of nature. Whether it is Lu Yan or Fang Qingying, they are both peerless beauties. He is not a wooden person, how could he be indifferent? Even the Holy Land of Eternal Life has provided him with many stunning beauties, and even Saintess Tianxian often comes to show off her beauty. Love. As long as Yang Hao is willing, he can do whatever he wants. However, after he tasted Lu Yan and Fang Qingying, he naturally despised it and was too lazy to touch it. But if he wanted to be a Taoist couple, Yang Hao had indeed never considered it. In this world, Taoist couples are not just couples like Blue Star, they are called Taoist couples. Being a Taoist couple means that their fortunes are connected, their secrets are shared, and they can advance and retreat together in practice. If the gap between the two parties is too big, they may even form a Taoist couple rashly. It will be counterattacked by luck, causing the weaker party to be completely suppressed. It's too troublesome. With Yang Hao's character of cultivating a mad demon, he really hasn't really considered the issue of Taoist companions. Emperor Zun, what do you think of me? At this time, Ning Xian Wang's faint voice came again, with some expectation _Fei. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading.